Hey guys, welcome back. This is Frequently Asked Questions number 9. Glad to be making this next one. I know I've been lagging on getting you these videos. I was sick for about 2 weeks this month, so I only got about 2 videos out to you the whole month. So sorry about that, but I'm back on track now. Anyway, let's jump into our first question. How bad is crime in Japan? Well, if you compare it to any other Western country or English-speaking country, it is not bad at all. It is to the point that I would say almost little to nothing. Japanese people will tell you that there is a lot of crime in Japan, but compared to the crime you probably face in your own country, it's like nothing. You don't have to worry about you don't have to worry about walking anywhere at night. Even in the most dingy neighborhoods that you can find, you're not going to face any kind of violence or drive-bys or anything like that. Guns barely exist. The cops have them here, and that's about it. There are large gangs here, and there is a big mafia known as the Yakuza, which I'm sure any of you who've investigated even the smallest detail about Japan know about. But then there's lower gangs like the Bosozoku, and those are just pathetic gangs compared to the gangs that you and I are used to back in our home countries. They think they're dangerous because they ride loud bikes. Maybe they wield a knife. Maybe they've stolen a purse. That's about it. But honestly, mugging's not a common thing in Japan. The more common thing that you hear is domestic violence, stabbing of a child to a parent or vice versa. And that's probably the most common assault that you hear here in Japan. Otherwise, really safe, really tame country when it comes to crime. You'll really like it if you like to stay out late at night. What is transportation like in Japan? Well, that depends on how you're moving through Japan. On foot, there's a lot that's always convenient near wherever you will live, such as grocery stores, convenience stores, even laundry. Everything you can probably imagine is not going to be that far from where you live if you're living in a big city. Once you get to the smaller, more rural towns, you might have to take quite a bit of a walk or definitely use a bike. Bikes are super cheap in Japan compared to what you're probably used to in the States, or at least what I was used to in the States. You can get a really nice bike for $100 American or 10,000 yen. There are other great ways to have transportation, such as the Japanese railway system and subway system, which are amazingly always on time to the very dot. The Shinkansen, which you know of as the bullet train, can travel up to 300 miles an hour, and over an entire year is only 4 minutes off of its entire times for the entire year. So that means it's late by only maybe microseconds every day. Everything is really proficient as far as public transportation goes, with subways and railway systems. Buses can be a little sketchy, and riding a car is at times hell because the traffic here is almost 24/7 congestion. A bike is a great way to get around. I really suggest getting one as soon as you can. If you live here or even if you visit, I suggest renting one. You would be amazed how quickly you can visit so many different spots so quickly. And I'd say your next best transportation gig is definitely using the subway system and railway system. Are electronics cheaper or better in Japan? That is a good question. That is probably something that is a bit of a myth back in Western states. Is it better? A little bit. The technology is maybe always 6 months ahead, especially on cell phones. It's always ahead. Digital cameras, it's always ahead. Computers, not so much. You're not going to see a huge advance in computers that you could buy back home. Are prices cheap? I would say on anything that is video capture or picture capture, you're going to have reasonable to cheap prices that you can find. For instance, the camera I'm using now only cost me about 170 American dollars, which is like 170,000 yen. I would say computers are a little overpriced here. They're actually more expensive for the same thing you could get back in America. As far as other technology, video game technology, of course, it's either on par or cheaper. You're going to be able to find an amazing assortment of electronics when it comes to video games. There are imports, so you can buy English games here, and those will be reasonably priced even though they are imports. And games are used here like that, and you will find any game you want within a week, I assure you, used, unless it's ultra popular. And used prices are great. They're usually anywhere from as cheap as, you know, $20 in America up to, you know, your highest price used game would probably be about 4,000 yen, which is like 40 bucks in America. Okay. Anything else as far as technology is going to be on par, like I said, or a little bit more expensive, because Japan is very expensive, even with their own items that they create, even with rice. Okay, so if rice is expensive, you can bet sometimes technology is going to be expensive.